And just do me a favor, have a seat right over here.
Yeah, sure.
Daniel?
Yep.
I'm Detective McCarthy. I'm Detective McNabb. I actually work here at Fifth Precinct. This is where you're at right now.
Cool.
How you doing today, Dan?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Okay.
Very good, very good.
I'm doing well. Danny, do me a favor. Just state your full name.
It's Daniel James Penny,
Okay, what's your date of birth?
July 22nd, 1998.
And where do you currently reside?
I live in East Village now. On my license is my grandmother's address.
What's your grandma's address?
It's 2208, 160, no. It's in Whitestone. I just have that address there. My parents, they split up. I was in the Marine Corps. I needed an address for my new license. So
Did you grow up here?
I did. I grew up on Long Island.
Where in Long Island?
West Islip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You served in the Marine Corps, Dan?
I did, yes.
I served in the Marine Corps.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Got my little death before the sun attack.
There you go. Nice, man.
What you doing? What was your MOS in the middle?
I was in 0351.
I was an 0331.
Oh, cool. Michigan. Yeah,
Yeah.
weapons platoon.
Yeah,
Nice, man.
yeah.
I was not military, so I don't know what that stuff is.
It's like another language.
3rd Battalion, 6th Marines.
Okay, there you go, 36.
96 to 2000.
Nice, man.
Two med floats, did my thing, and then I ended up here. Now I got close to 22 years here now, man.
Good pension coming up.
So welcome to my channel, Azimuth Podcast. I'm your host, Barrett McNabb, and I am a retired Army officer. I'm also have a criminal justice degree, a Bachelor of Science in law enforcement and police science. And this is the interrogation of Daniel Penny by the NYPD. So this is in relation to the Jordan Neely death that occurred on a subway in 2023. Now, what happened was Jordan Neely came on to a subway where Daniel Penny was standing by the door and was high on a synthetic marijuana called K2, and immediately threw his jacket down on top of some people that were sitting down and started screaming and making death threats, saying that he was going to kill people if they didn't give him food and water. Said he's willing to die, willing to go to prison for the rest of his life. And Daniel Penny, fearing for his safety and the safety of his fellow passengers on the subway, detained and restrained Jordan Neely in a chokehold and took him down to the ground, and two other men stopped in and helped out to restrain Jordan Neely. At this point in time, Daniel Penny does not know that Jordan Neely has died. Okay, so this is the initial interrogation, and it's in its full entirety. And right now, they're asking softball questions, and they're building rapport in order to put Daniel Penny at ease. So let's continue.
Yeah, man. When did you get out the military?
2021, around there.
How many years you did?
Just 4.
4?
Yeah.
You were overseas at all, or?
Yeah, I deployed twice. I did a float. I was in the Med, and then 7th Fleet, I think it is, 6th Fleet, within the Persian Gulf around there, and then Okinawa.
Okay, so you've been around.
That's the Westpac, right? That's the Westpac over
Yep.
there, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good stuff, man. And what do you do now?
I'm in school, so I'm using that GI Bill.
What are you
Nice.
going to school for?
Engineering and architecture.
What school?
City Tech. It's in downtown Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty good.
And what did you say you majored in?
Architecture and engineering.
That's good stuff, man.
But we'll see. I miss the Marine Corps, miss the camaraderie. I was
Yeah.
talking to some of the boys here.
Yeah.
I'm like, man.
I was like that when I first got out. I did 8 years the late entry program.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I wanted to go back, and then 9/11 happened and all that stuff. But I was actually I was like, damn, I want to go back. But,
Yeah.
Thank God I went into this. I felt like I was still serving.
Yeah, absolutely, especially here
Yeah.
after 9/11. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a bond here, but I could imagine probably the military bond is probably a lot stronger.
Getting rained on in the field.
You have any other family out here?
Yeah, all my family. Well, my sister just moved down to Miami, and my other sister moved to Houston with her boyfriend.
So it's you and 2 sisters?
And I have another sister. She lives in Glendale.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
right near Whitestone.
Yeah.
I grew up in Queens as well.
Nice.
Nice. That's good, Daniel. Anyway, listen, Daniel, so we want to talk to you about what happened today.
Sure.
Thank you for sticking around.
Yeah.
And being cooperative.
Absolutely.
And we were out serving in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
But anyway, before we speak to you about today, we have to read you your rights.
Sure, absolutely.
So I'm going to read you your rights. After each question, I'm going to say, do you understand? Say yes or no in a loud, clear voice. You got to say yes or no. You can't just nod your head. I got to
Sure.
hear it, okay?
Okay.
All right, so he's now having his Miranda rights read to him, and the detective is doing a good job of reading it from a card so that there is no mistake that that he makes in missing some of the words or mispronouncing things or getting them out of order. This is super important for the NYPD because they are obviously recording this both visually and in audio, and so he's going to make sure that he reads that so that everything is admissible in a court of law. Now, at this point in time, I would highly recommend Mr. Daniel Penny to stop talking because he's about to get his Miranda rights read, and this is where it gets real. Now, if you look at Mr. Penny and his body language, he is very open. His hands are comfortably on the armrests on the chair. His legs are spread open. He is, as far as body language goes, completely vulnerable in this position, and he stays this way during the entire video. Comment down below if you find a period of time where it seems as though Mr. Penny has closed up, crossed his arms or something like that to kind of defend himself from a physiological standpoint and psychological standpoint. But these detectives, what they've done is they asked him some softball questions, so they've gotten him used to answering questions, and then also they've built up this rapport of laughing and joking Marine Corps and camaraderie, and hey, I'm a Marine too, you're a Marine. The other detectives like, hey, I don't know what you guys are talking about, and it becomes an inside joke. So a lot of rapport building has just been established, and then they're going to get into the altercation. And right now he's having his Miranda rights read to him, which this would be a good indicator for him to go ahead and stop talking, but he doesn't.
You have the right to remain silent and refuse to answer questions. Do you understand?
I understand.
Anything you do say may be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand?
I understand.
You have the right to consult an attorney before speaking to the police and to have an attorney present during any questioning now or in the future. Do you understand?
I understand.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you without cost. Do you understand?
I understand.
If you do not have an attorney available, you have the right to remain silent until you've had an opportunity to consult with one. Do you understand?
I understand.
Now that I've advised you of your rights, are you willing to answer questions?
Yes.
Okay. So, kind of run with me and Detective Medina, the course of your day, where you're coming from, where you're going, and then what led up to, the incident on the train.
Absolutely. So I have class down in Brooklyn. I take the F down to J Street Metro Tech. My class is at 12. So once the class finished up, I was going straight to the gym. I go to the gym in Lifetime on 23rd Street. So I get off, I take the F straight from school to the gym. Was on there. I forget what stop it was at, but some guy came in. He's like, whipped his jacket off, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill everybody. I can go to prison forever. I don't care. I don't do this." At that point, I looked to the person next to me like, "Hey, just hang on to this phone for me." I had my headphones in, took it off, and just kind of like grabbed him from behind because he came in, just to because he was acting like a lunatic, like a crazy person. So, and he was rolling around the floor, and at that point the train stopped. I was like, someone called the cops, and he's still like rolling around, still going crazy. Had two other guys kind of help me, just kind of keep him from going nuts, and yeah, that's when you guys came.
Okay, so you're coming back from Brooklyn from school.
That's
and
correct.
You said you're on the F train.
Yes.
And you're headed to Lifetime, which is
23rd.
23rd and Park. Somewhere.
No, it's not Park. It's 23rd. It's like right outside the 23rd Street stop for the F train. I don't know.
Oh, the F train.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, do you remember? I know you said you weren't exactly sure. Do you remember where it was that he got onto the train? Like Lower Manhattan, Brooklyn? What?
I'm sorry. Like when I got onto the train.
When did you get on the train?
It was at J Street Metro Tech. That's where the school's at. I got on there. I usually get off. I live in the East Village now, so I usually get off on 2nd Avenue. I decided to go to the gym, so I was taking it all the way from J Street.
When did this person get on the train?
After 2nd Street. After 2nd Avenue. Excuse me.
2nd Avenue.
Yeah.
Okay. How long had he been on there before you intervened?
I mean, he got on, he whipped his jacket off. That's, I mean, usually I don't just crackhead, you know what I mean? I just kind of let them do the thing. But then she started threatening people, and people started he threw shit on people. So it was like maybe a minute before it was like, okay, this guy's.
What was he wearing? Describe it to me.
He was wearing sweatpants and like a sweatshirt.
What color?
I
Do you remember?
He threw like a windbreaker at like people when he first got on. He took his jacket off. He's like, if I don't get this, this, and this, I go to jail forever. He was talking gibberish, but I don't know. These guys are pushing people in front of trains and stuff.
And he was standing when he was doing all
Yeah,
this?
he was right in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pacing up and down.
When he first got on, he like kind of was throwing his stuff, like doing like what crackheads do, like throw. And then he turned away from me and was like.
Were you standing or were you sitting?
I was standing. I was in front of the door.
You were in front of the door.
That's correct.
Where on the train were you? Were you the middle doors?
It was in the middle, yeah.
The middle doors?
Yeah.
And that's where he got on, basically?
He got on like diagonally from me. So he came in, but I was on my phone, like listening to music. I wasn't paying attention. He's just a crackhead, you know what I mean? So.
When you say diagonally, what do you mean? Like the opposite door? Or
So
like...
if you don't mind, I could like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm like, say this is the door over here.
Okay.
He came in from like where you're at.
Okay.
So he gets on and immediately
Yes,
he
immediately.
starts yelling at, like doors are still open at whatever stop he gets on.
The doors closed, and then he's threw stuff at those people, and he's like, if I don't get this, this, and this, I'm gonna kill everyone. I'm prepared to go to jail for life and stuff.
Okay. And do you remember specifically what he was saying? Like, if I get this, this, and this, do you remember?
He said like maybe like Sprite or ginger ale or something. I mean, something along those lines.
Okay.
Did he seem like he was on something? Did he
Yeah,
seem
absolutely.
intoxicated, high?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that K2 that they're smoking, pushing people in front, like these people are going crazy. So
So he seemed off his lid, basically.
A little bit, yeah.
Now, explain the interaction you had with him.
So I came up, he had his back turned to me, and I just kind of got him in a hold, got him to the ground. He was still like squirming around and still, going crazy. And I turned to the guy, I'm like, hey, call the cops, because the train arrived in Broadway,
Yeah.
and then waited for you guys.
Okay.
Dan, you said Danny, right?
Yes, correct.
Do you mind showing me?
Sure, yeah.
You got him?
Yeah, so he was standing behind me,
Yeah.
and I kind of came like this.
Okay. Did you apply pressure, Daniel?
No, I wasn't. I just wanted to keep him from getting to people.
Did you put your hooks in?
Wrap my legs.
Did you learn the jiu-jitsu from the Marine Corps?
I did, yes.
You learned how to grapple in the Marine Corps. What belt level you made it to?
Green.
Green belt?
Yeah.
Good. All right.
It was alright. I was a little bit, yeah.
So here the detective is trying to establish just how trained Daniel Penny was in the Marine Corps. He's trying to see if he was a novice or if he was an expert and knew more what he was doing would possibly cause harm. So if he was an expert in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or the Marine Corps version of civilian and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, then he would know that he was using deadly force potentially. And so he's trying to get into his intent of how much he was going to utilize his military training in order to subdue Neely.
Should have went higher.
Should have applied yourself more, huh?
Yeah, I mean, hindsight's 20/20, right?
So they offer that in the Marine Corps, or is that like you take it on your own after they give you basic stuff, or?
You have to at least get your tan belt, which is the first level, and then you could progress from there if you want.
And what are they? I'm sorry, like I said, I'm not familiar with the Marines.
Sure.
Like, what is it? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or is it like?
It's a derivative of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and American Jiu-Jitsu, some grappling, some wrestling, all put together to teach you combat. Teach you how to survive hand-to-hand combat.
Correct.
They up their game.
Yeah.
So how long after he starts? So the doors close, he's still yelling, "I want this, this, and this. I want Sprite. I want ginger ale." When does he throw the jacket?
As soon as so the doors close, he throws the jacket.
And then
that's when he starts like, if I get this, 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 I'm willing to go to jail forever. I'll kill you, this, that, and that.
And is he going up to people specifically saying he'll kill them, or he's just kind of yelling in the air? Or?
It's like, it's, the heat of the moment.
I don't know, it happens fast.
Yeah.
But when he's doing this, is he staying still, or is he kind of moving up and down the?
Like he's moving like a little bit. He's like getting people's faces and stuff. People are starting to move out of his way and stuff. And
okay.
Yeah.
So he says, if I don't get this, I'm going to kill everyone. Something
go
to
to
that.
jail forever.
Yeah.
I'm willing to.
Is it at that point that's when you get up and decide to put him in the hold? Because it looks like a sleeper hold to me, like
right,
something similar to like.
I'm not trying to kill the guy.
Right.
I'm just trying to de-escalate the situation, right?
I understand.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the other detective is about to drop the hammer. right? So he's been quiet. He's been letting the other detective do some of the questioning, again, getting him to answer questions. He's kind of, talked about, hey, it sounds like that's a sleeper hold. But the other detective is just about to drop the hammer and utilize a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu technical term, and it's going to kind of catch Daniel Penny off guard.
Daniel, not a sleep hold, but would you say what you put him in, because I do take Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu myself, I've been taking it for many years, would you say that was considered a rear naked choke?
I don't train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I'm not.
But in the Marine Corps, is that considered a rear naked choke?
I don't know what you would call that, no. I'm not sure.
Because I noticed that you put it around my neck and then you closed from behind.
I would have had it on the back of his head. I didn't press forward.
You didn't press forward.
I noticed when you were doing it to him too, you went to go put your legs around him.
I did. I held my legs because if you flop it around and stuff, you can easily get out of that if you don't lock it.
You did that to control him in place.
That's correct.
Explain to me what made you want to get involved. What made you?
Well, he's threatening people, and
you can see the detective's tone has changed. If you want to go back and look, the detective pushed himself away from the table a little bit, rolled back, and then changed his tone as he was being a little more aggressive in talking about the rear naked choke.
I'm not confrontational, not a confrontational guy. In the Marine Corps, I felt the need to step in. Yeah. There's women, children on the train. I'm sure there's ladies there that will vouch for me, and
he felt like he was threatening other people. He felt like
he was absolutely.
Did you feel like someone's life was in danger?
100%.
Okay. Now, how long was this interaction? How long do you hold him in place?
Well, he's squirming up until the cops come, and then he stops, and I got those other two guys to help me keep him there.
At any given time while he's squirming, did you have to apply more pressure to hold him down?
A little bit. He gets a burst of energy at one point, and then I do have to hold him a little bit more steady. But if he's not moving, then I let up a little bit.
How long did that last until you let him go?
Until those guys help. I don't know. I'm on the ground. When you're exerting energy like that, you kind of lose track of time.
How about this? You said he got on at 2nd Avenue. You have this interaction. Did this train stop when you let him go? Was the train still moving when you let him go?
Was it one stop to the next stop?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
And then it gets to that station. Are you still holding him?
Well, I'm holding them because he's squirming around. So if I'm telling people, hey, get the cops.
This is you're still holding him on the train while the doors are open. Or
well, once the doors open, he's he gets that burst of energy, and I don't know if the doors have been open at that point or if we're still waiting for the station to come, but. He has, so I get him down, he's squirming around stuff, going crazy, then he lets up, he seems like he's resisting, just calm down, and then he gets another burst of energy, and I hold him.
Apply more pressure.
That's correct.
Now, did you guys say anything to each other at any given time?
No.
He didn't say anything to you?
No.
Okay. Was he making any noise?
Not really.
Okay. Did anybody else assist you while you were doing this?
Yes. They were, well, what do you mean by when I...
Did anybody else hold him down?
Yeah, there was two other guys that were helping. As soon as those guys came in and were holding his arms, then I kind of let up.
You let him go?
That's correct.
And when you let him go, what happened? What do you remember? Was he still moving? Was he still saying anything?
Yeah, he was moving a bit, and I was worried that he would go again, so I was telling those guys, hey, make sure you keep hanging on to him.
So the three of you holding him down, or just the two other gentlemen?
Just the two other guys were hanging on to him.
And how long did they hold him down? They were holding him down by the arms?
Yeah, by the arms.
How long were they holding him down before the cops got there?
Like I said, man, it's you're exerting energy at that point.
The adrenaline is going, right?
Right.
It's like fight or flight, everything's going,
That's correct.
You lose track of time.
Yep.
I understand.
Mm-hmm.
At any given time, did you reapply any kind of holds on him once you let him go, or
No,
that was it?
No. That was it.
And what do you remember from there? Explain to me now.
Just the cops came and that was it. I got him.
Okay. When the cops came, what was he doing?
He was just on the ground.
Was he saying anything? Was he... No?
I'm trying to, all these people are filming and shit and they're, I don't know.
Okay. Anything else you remember, Daniel, from this interaction? Anything else that was said? Anybody else say anything to you?
I mean, everyone on the train was. I asked a few people like, "Hey, stick around when the cops come," just so, and they were like, "Yeah, well." And the people were thanking me and stuff because I wasn't like I'm not trying to. Like I said, I'm not a confrontational guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not out here like trying to attack people. You know, it's not me, not how I was trained.
Yeah.
You know, I just felt the need that this guy was saying that he's going to kill people, that he was prepared to go to jail for life. I hear that, and I'm like, I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
So I just want to go back real quick from
Sure.
when he first gets on.
All right, so this is a common tactic. So the detective is okay. Let's take it from the top. I want you to go all the way back again. And what he's looking to see is if there's consistency in Mr. Penny's interrogation in his answers and things like that. So he's, hey, let's go over it one more time just to make sure. So this is pretty standard.
He gets on the train and immediately the doors aren't even closed. Immediately he throws his.
I don't know
jacket.
the exact timing, but it's the doors are. I mean, what is it? 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 30 seconds, he comes on. Doors are closing. Throws the jacket at those people.
And does it hit anyone, or is it just kind of like?
It's the two people sitting right next to me.
Okay. And then he starts screaming, "Give me soda, give me ginger ale, whatever it is, or I'll
I'm
kill
prepared to
everyone."
go to prison for life. I'm going to kill everyone. Yeah.
Does he ever specifically? Like, I know I asked you this before, but maybe I just wasn't clear. Does he ever specifically go up to anyone, or is he kind of just staying in the same spot?
Yeah, I mean, he's going around, and like I said, he's like, people come on, you know, these guys come on the train all the time, and they're talking stuff. It was not until he started threatening, like, I'm going to go to jail forever, I'm going to kill everyone if I don't get this, whatever he's saying.
Okay, but he doesn't put his hands on anyone.
I mean, I'm not noticing that. Like I said, he's from across the train.
Okay.
He's like enough where I can see him in my peripherals and hear what's going on. But
Well, you said originally that he, like, if that was the wall right there, it was kind of like where we are.
it's a little bit further. It was from, like, if this was the door, it's the next door on the other side.
Okay.
Do you understand?
But he was making enough of a scene that you noticed him, and then you probably would have noticed if he put his hands on someone.
But I didn't.
Okay, all right, that's fine. And then once he starts doing that, that's when you try to subdue him.
Yes. I wasn't trying to, like, injure him.
Right.
I'm just trying to keep him from hurting anybody else. He's threatening people. That's what we learned in the Marine Corps. That's what you guys learn as police officers. It's the same thing if you're off duty. You're gonna intervene in a situation where it's.
Danny, let me backtrack a little
Sure.
bit. You said when you were on the train originally, you had your earbuds on, you were looking at your phone.
That's
and all that
correct.
stuff, right? You had both your earbuds on?
I did, yes.
Okay. This guy gets on the train, you actually remove the earbuds from your ear to hear what this guy is saying?
That's correct.
And that's when you heard what you
That's
basically what you
correct.
just explained?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And this whole interaction lasts from one train station stop to the next train
That's
station
correct.
stop.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll just take a minute.
Yeah.
Let's give us a minute, okay?
Sure.
All right, so here you can see the two police officers are pulling a page out of the car salesman guide in which they're like, hey, we have to go talk to our manager, and you're buying a car and you're in the office and the salesman leaves and you're just stuck in there. You're stuck in there for what it seems like 30 minutes. And this actually goes on for a period of approximately 7 minutes, maybe plus or minus 10 seconds or so, but he's in there for 7 minutes, and you can see, you know, the camera's on. They're still looking at him. They're talking about him. They're trying to see, you know, what is, consistent with the story. Was there any embellishing in the beginning that he's tamped down? Is there any things that was in the beginning that was tamped down that he's now embellishing? And so they're looking to see the consistency of the story. But again, if you look at Daniel Penny, his posture, he still has his arms open, his legs are open and spread. Looks like maybe he's possibly, nope, his legs are open and spread, and so he is completely, on a psychological standpoint, open and vulnerable. He's not trying to hide anything. A lot of times when people want to hide stuff, they start closing up and stuff. Now sometimes people cross their arms just because it's comfortable, right? And so, but in this instance, he's being open. He doesn't believe that he's done anything wrong. He is not aware that Jordan Neely has passed away. So that is lost on him right now. But again, he's just he doesn't have a phone. He's not flipping through, Instagram or Snapchat or anything like that. He's just sitting there, just being quiet. He's not getting up and pacing. I'd say this is one cool character who feels as though he has done the right thing. Now, many of the people on the subway train thanked him and said that they were scared for their lives and they're glad that Mr. Penny stepped in. Now, in the testimony that those witnesses said, there was, I guess, maybe they talked to their family members and gosh, this is a horrible thing. And in some of the instances, the people that had previously thanked Mr. Penny said, well, now in retrospect, I don't think, I was really in fear of my life. I think, maybe Penny overreacted or something like that. But at the time, and that's what's super important. At the time, everybody was scared. All the women and children were scared. The men were scared. It was enough to make Mr. Penny nervous, and so he did what he thought at the time was in the best interest of the general populace around him. But again, you heard him. It's a fight or flight. It happens. Adrenaline's going. It's happening in the moment, and so he had other people that were helping as well. So that kind of reinforced Mr. Penny thinking I'm doing the right thing because other people are jumping in too to help hold this guy down. So it wasn't just me that thought that something bad had happened. Other people also thought that something bad had happened. Now, there's lots of cell phone video that was taken of the actual altercation, and a lot of it's blurred out. This has never been released to the public before. This has just been ordered to be released by the judge in the trial, I think mainly because the jurists asked for it because they wanted to review this interrogation again, but also they wanted to, the judge said, hey, look, let's go ahead and show this to everybody. So this got released today, which is why I'm reacting to it right now. But again, the detectives are doing everything that they know how to do in the playbook. They asked some softball questions to get Mr. Penny used to answering questions. They built rapport with him. They laughed and joked and smiled. All of that was definitely to put Mr. Penny at ease, get him used to answering questions, and to put him at ease. And then, hey, show me, how this worked. Hey, are you aware that that's a rear naked choke? And of course that caught Daniel Penny off guard because you could see that the tone changed of that detective who's also a former Marine and was just 3 minutes ago laughing and joking on being a Marine and kind of poking fun at the other detective that didn't have any military experience, and so he doesn't really know what they're talking about. That's a secret squirrel, Marine Corps only language. And so, but then all of a sudden to transition and to have that detective push away from the desk a little bit and become a little more aggressive and assertive in his question concerning the rear naked choke and just how trying to determine just how trained Daniel Penny is, and obviously it caught him off guard. And then they go back and they're like, okay, take it from the top, start over again, and let me hear everything you have to say. Again, what they're doing is they're trying to establish whether there is an inconsistency in his story. But again, Daniel Penny is sitting there. He's, when you're there for such a long period of time, of course you're going to start looking around and stuff like that. But on the by and by, he is acting like a cool character, and it's because he believes he did the right thing. So he is not a criminal. He's believing that he helped people just like he did in his Marine Corps service. He helped the people on those trains, and it's really just a travesty that the prosecution has brought this case against Daniel Penny, because he should be hailed as a hero and not be on trial for manslaughter for stepping in and helping people at the time. Now, the coroner found that he was high on K2, again, that's synthetic marijuana, but has ruled that he died by the chokehold or the holding that Daniel Penny did to him, and so anyway, these guys are about to come back in right now. It was a long 7 minutes.
So we just want to clarify a couple of things.
Sure.
I know you said, sorry for rehashing this, we just want to make sure we know we got it exactly right. He gets on the train, he throws the jacket, he starts yelling. You put him in the hold from behind, and you basically hold him until it gets to the next stop, and then 2 gentlemen jump in and you kind of break off.
That's correct.
Do you take him to the ground when you have him in the hold, or are you just holding him upright?
Yeah, I take him to the ground.
You
yes.
take him to the ground.
Yes.
How soon after you put him in the hold do you take him to the ground?
Immediately.
Immediately. Is that why you kind of wrap your legs around, like what you demonstrated?
Yes.
Like I said, I don't train, so I don't know.
Right.
So
I mean, if
is that something that helps you bring people to the ground?
It just helps detain someone from lashing out.
So you're holding him on the ground. I'm
That's
assuming
right.
you're underneath him,
Yes.
right? And he's on top of you. You still have your legs around his legs?
Yes.
Both legs?
One leg at one point, because when he starts squirming around, I kind of lose grip with one leg, so I have him with one.
What are his arms doing at that point? Is he trying?
Yeah, he's grabbing on. He's like grabbing on. He's like trying to hit me, trying to grab me.
Okay. And then, so you hold him in that position basically the entire length from one stop to the next.
Yeah, I mean, with plus or minus some force.
Yeah.
With some force, just if he starts to squirm, I hold him a little tighter.
So when you're holding him down, you said 2 males came up and started holding his arms.
Yes.
Were they doing that while you were still holding him in the?
When
in
they
the
started,
hold?
and I asked, like, do you have him? Once they said they have him,
You let go, and when you rolled out from underneath him,
That's
and they just held him by the arms?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you have anything. You're more trained in these moves than I am. I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel like it's better coming from you because you know,
Okay.
yeah, because I know the terminology, but I don't want to say it if you don't know
Sure,
the
no.
terminology, All right, so like you said, you knocked him down to the ground, you held him there, the guys came over, they held his arms, you got out from underneath.
That's
him,
correct.
And basically at that time you stood with the gentleman though to make sure if they needed help or not, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is he doing when they're holding him down? Can you demonstrate to me on like my body?
Yeah, sure. He's like one guy has him like this, and the other guy's like just kind of holding his arm.
So one guy's like pressing his arm into his chest.
Yeah.
Like holding him, and then the other guy's like holding one arm to the
Yeah.
ground, and he's still on the ground at this point.
Yeah, he's like
And he's still moving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he yelling, screaming?
No. At that point, he's
moving though.
Yes.
Okay. How long would you say were you holding him in the hold while they're holding his arms? Was it very long or not very long?
Until I got confirmation that they got him. So
Okay.
a few seconds.
And how did you get that confirmation? Did they say it to you?
Well, I looked. I'm like, hey, do you guys have him? And the guy said, yeah, we got him. So.
Okay. All right. I just wasn't sure if you were holding him down, in that hold on the ground, and they were like holding his arms the entire time of the train ride.
No.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
Because he was squirming around and like getting loose, and that's why I was getting nervous. I asked, hey, like, come and grab him. So.
I have one question on you.
Sure.
Like, when he's screaming on the train before you put him in the move, like, how do you feel about the situation? What do you think is going on? Like, where was your head at when it's going on?
So right there, the detective is trying to establish intent, okay, and the state of mind of Daniel Penny. What was your state of mind at the time? Were you scared? And he'll answer that in a second.
Until like when people do that, it's one thing. You just let him go. It's like, oh, whatever he's doing. But this guy was actually threatening. This guy was actually like, I was concerned that he would actually lash out. He's saying that he's willing to go to prison forever. He's saying that he's going to kill you if he doesn't get this, and this. I look around, there's women, children. It's just.
Besides the jacket that he threw, did he have anything else in his hands? Was he wearing a backpack? Anything that could have hurt someone?
I don't remember that.
All right. Just hang tight for a little bit.
Did he make any gestures that he was going to hurt anybody? Did he have his hands in his pocket?
Yeah,
like he had a
no.
weapon?
His hands were out, and he was acting.
Okay.
Yes, he's never like. This happens. People do this all the time. It's whatever. It's one thing. This guy was actually, like, I was like, I don't know, like, no one goes out and doing this stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought he was
Enough to make you
Enough to, yeah.
100%.
To make you nervous.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
Exactly.
All right, so that's all that was released by the criminal court, by the judge. But clearly, you can see, again, I'm going to rehash some of this stuff. He had a completely open body posture the entire time, and I'm talking about Daniel Penny. He was completely open. He was transparent. He feels as though he did the right thing, and that himself or others were in danger by Mr. Neely's actions and tirade, right? And so that's why he's not closed off. He's like, look, I got nothing to hide. Now, I still honestly would have exercised my Miranda rights. Because you exercise your Miranda rights doesn't mean you're guilty. It just means that you're smart and you want to talk to an attorney, just real quick before you accidentally say anything. Obviously, Daniel Penny didn't. He waived his Miranda rights and answered the detective's questions. And you heard what he said. I mean, he was not the only person that was holding Mr. Neely down, which means that there were other people who felt as though Jordan Neely was a danger to others. And so it really is just a travesty that Daniel Penny is on trial for manslaughter. But this is New York City, and the DA or the prosecutor, the lead prosecutor, gave a sweetheart of a deal to a former person that was on trial that assaulted an 83 plus year old woman, and gave him a sweetheart of a deal. But here, this is clearly a case of defense of others. Don't want to necessarily call it self-defense, but defense of others. And especially in Texas law, you're allowed to do that. If you're defending yourself or defending others, you can use deadly force. And I don't think the intent of Daniel Penny was to use deadly force. I really think that what happened is just the stress of being in that environment, combined with the fact that Jordan Neely was high on synthetic marijuana, that K2, definitely contributed to his death. But as of right now, the jury is still deliberating, and we'll keep you apprised of what's going on. So thank you so much for tuning into Azimuth Podcast, and please stay tuned after these messages.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy our show with all the stories we share, we would love your support.
And it's as easy as clicking that subscribe or follow button. This will ensure you never miss an episode and keeps us bringing you these important stories. Your support makes a huge difference. Thank you so much for being part of our podcast family.
Thanks, and keep tuning in.